So I'm part of the committee of Cannes. We selected your film Entroncamento that we really loved. I was very surprised by your movie because I started to watch the movie. What was going on in the film was never what I expected. They start with a gun scene and then slowly deconstruct all of this genre gangster movie that I love personally, but in a some way respect it. So can you talk a little bit about the genesis?
So I'm from Entroncamento.
Okay.
I'm around there. Almost after finishing my first film, I was there one day, and there was this guy that I knew from my childhood, and he was making gangster rap at the time. And he knew I was studying cinema and making films. I studied cinema, and he asked me to make a music video.
Okay.
And I said, okay, yeah, of course. So
A rap video?
A rap video,
Okay,
gangster
super.
rap video. That I really like that
Okay.
music video. And I said, let's try to make something that is more cinematic, also more documentary approach to the city. I filmed in the street where I had grown. I filmed the people's faces which I knew since my childhood, and also because I realized also they had their own story to tell, and I had a point of view because it's really difficult to find like there are a lot of ideas, but it's very difficult to find ideas that you have a point of view about the ideas, because usually people say, oh, that's a great idea for a film. Yes, it's a great idea for a film, but I don't have a point of view about that idea. So, and with that ideas of their stories, I had a point of view because I had left Entroncamento when I was 18 to study in Lisbon, and my first film was about the people that left their hometowns and went to Lisbon, and they were fascinated by Lisbon because it was a different world. But I wanted now to understand I could make a reverse shot film of my first film. It was about the people that never left and stayed in that city. Yeah, so that's the starting point of the film. And then, because it was inspired also in their imaginary of the gangster rap, because they really lived the imaginarium they were singing. And so the film was heavily initially inspired. And then Anna, who is the main actress of the film, she's also my companion in life. So she followed the project since the beginning. And she was saying, okay, but maybe you are a little bit immature. The way you are looking to that, maybe you are not understanding very well that is a kind of very toxic masculinity, that imaginary. Maybe you are not understanding that this place is also very misogynist. Made me think a lot during the script, writing the script with Diogo, who is usually also works with me, a very good friend, and we start thinking, me and Diogo also, with what Anna was telling me, and we start to understand, okay, maybe this film has more than the usually gangster rap imaginarium, and maybe there are more things on that people's life. And maybe try to understand where it comes from all this masculinity.
Yeah.
And so we started to create these female characters that would go there, and also try to deconstruct these power hierarchies that are usually very masculinity, very masculine affirmation.
I think you take your time to film. We feel that it's something structured, that you wrote, that the film was there, but in some ways, like, you put a structure to let happen the life, and you talk about documentary before and something like that, but I have the feeling that you managed to cross these two worlds in something very fictional, because also the decoupage of the imagery is very strong for me, and I was wondering, how did you work with that to let the life happen in the movie, to let the life infused in the movie?
So the writing process was very long. It was very difficult because I wanted to put a lot of characters that were somehow inspired by some people that I knew, or mixing people that I knew, or and so me and Diogo was always trying to put scenes from one place to another, and it was always very difficult to make it work. And also because there were some events on the film, and the film is very eventful, more than it doesn't have like a progression or an arc. It's more about events, and what as a specific event can mean to other things, but not to the plot. And there were events that were also somehow based in things that I heard or that I really wanted to keep, because these events will be very faithful to the city and the story of that people.
But it's so tough to do a good gangster movie without being sometimes too, today is difficult, because when you think about all of the toxic things that can happen in the gangster rap, but how do you keep that kind of things that we liked about the Scorsese movie and everything,
Yes, exactly.
but being with today, with the today ideas of like how you make a woman character inside this masculine work. How did you think about that?
Yes, no, because my starting point was more like you're saying, like this. Yes, I want to make this rough gangster film, and people to understand. Yes, Entroncamento is a rough city too, as guys are. But then Anna also told me that's true. She was saying, man, this film has been made like 100 times. Like we want to watch this film again. Like, oh my God, these guys. And yeah, that's true. I like that films, but if I make also this film, like it's a fantasy, In the end, it's like I was watching these people, and it was a fantasy that I was creating about them, and I was not also reaching their deeper things and their inner frustrations and all what leads to this kind of sometimes I don't want to say behavior, but this attitude, what leads to this attitude, It's also difficult to run away, and I know the film has some events that are really also a very gangster film, like the one when they trap the other guy and they put the guy in the car trunk, and he's like, oh, I told you I was going to get you, so it's difficult to escape from that.
And the last question, how did you work with the comedians of the film, the main characters? How did you work on acting? Because I think the acting here is also key. How did you work with that?
So, well, with the actors, usually the most important thing with the actors is to do the right cast. So if you pick the right person to that part. Also because usually I write the characters to that person, because I knew all the actors, they are also my friends. The people from the city are also my friends, so I knew exactly which person could do what. And then I don't direct a lot them. We rehearsal and we try to do things in rehearsal, but usually only trying to find the scenes. And then in the scene, I give a lot of freedom to the actors, because they are really great actors and they know what they are going to do. And usually I repeat a lot of takes to try to find new nuances, new things, but to give them new opportunities to do the scene again. So I think that is what I do, because direct sometimes can block the actors, I think.
Yeah,
and
giving too much.
If you give too much, they can give you the things without you saying, no, you have to go there. Well,
thank you very much.
Thank you also very much for the words that you said about the film.